There are certain burdens that you were never intended to bear alone, weights that press upon your spirit, questions that press upon your mind, anxieties that grip your heart with silent, relentless hands. You've been striving, pushing forward, reaching for control with every fiber of your being, desperate to map out the path and secure every outcome. But some things are not yours to orchestrate, nor are they yours to resolve in your timing. In your search for answers, in your urgency for resolution, you've tried to force clarity where mystery still lingers, and in doing so, you've exhausted yourself. You've grown weary, not just in body, but in soul, drained by the endless effort to bend life to your will. You see, clarity is not something that yields to demands. It does not appear at the stomp of a foot, nor does wisdom descend at the snap of determined fingers. There is a rhythm to all things, a pace that is sometimes slower, sometimes faster than we desire. The answers you crave will come, but they arrive on purpose, with intention, in their own appointed season. And sometimes the purpose is found less in the arrival of the answer and more in the surrender to the moment before it. Consider what you carry. In your hands are grievances long past, mistakes long forgiven, regrets that have no power except the power you continue to give them. In your arms, you hold the expectations of others, some spoken, and many more unspoken, mixed with the expectations you've set for yourself. Expectations that chafe and constrict when life unfolds in unexpected ways. You bear the fear of the unknown, the ache of disappointment, the uncertainty of what lies ahead. Is it any wonder that you are tired? Is it any wonder that hope sometimes feels just out of reach? That peace slips through your grasp like water through open fingers? The invitation, gentle yet resolute, is to let go. Release what is heavy. Set down the things that no longer contribute to your growth, to your healing, to your journey. Surrender the illusion of control. There are battles not meant for you to fight. There are stories that must unfold beyond your vision, in ways you could not predict or plan. Letting go is not a sign of defeat. It is an act of ultimate trust. It is stepping aside so that a greater strength can work on your behalf. When you let go, you do not lose yourself, nor do you abandon all responsibility. Rather, you create space for something greater, for wisdom to enter, for healing to begin, for possibilities unimagined to reveal themselves. It is here, in this sacred act of surrender, that peace awaits, not in the chaos, but in the calm that follows, in the soft assurance that you are not, and never were, alone. Freedom begins the moment you release your white-knuckled grip on certainty. When you finally sigh and unclench, you find that your hands are free to receive luck, grace, and guidance in forms you hadn't thought to expect. Sometimes the very thing you are holding is what's holding you back. Sometimes, only by loosening your grasp do you discover what was meant for you all along. In the frantic pursuit of answers, you often run ahead, eager to get a head start, eager to prove your worth, eager to ensure you don't miss an opportunity. But in your rush, you may move past the very guidance you seek. Or you lag behind, paralyzed by fear or self-doubt, unable to keep pace with the life unfolding before you. Yet, you were never meant to go ahead or fall behind. You're invited to walk together, side by side, step for step, in rhythm with a wisdom that moves not by compulsion, but by gentle purpose, walking with, not ahead, and not behind. There is trust in that companionship, a knowing that you are neither abandoned to wander the wilderness, nor pressured to force a way through the thicket. Pace slows, breaths deepen. You notice the beauty that greets you on the path, a songbird's call, the way sunlight filters through the leaves, the quiet pulse of hope that beats within. Each new step becomes a choice. Will you live today burdened by what cannot be changed, or will you set it down and open your hands for what can be embraced? Will you trust your journey, trust the timing, trust that you are guided even when the map is unclear? Letting go looks like trust. It looks like waking up in the morning and letting your heart whisper, I release all of this to something bigger than myself. It looks like offering your worries, your failures, your uncertainty up to the day, choosing instead to focus on what you can do right now. Breathe in, breathe out, take one step, then another. When fears arise, you do not need to fight them, only to acknowledge them, then gently set them aside, knowing that every burden surrendered creates new space within you. You may find in this release that the peace you've been chasing is not so distant after all. It is not beyond the next mountain, not hidden behind the next unlocked door, but nestled here in the quiet surrender of control. When you begin to trust, you feel lighter, not because life has become easier, but because you are no longer hauling the impossible uphill alone. This is not a path without pain or uncertainty. Surrender does not mean evading hardship, but it does mean that even in hardship, you are not alone. You are not abandoned amid the noise. You are led through it, always accompanied, always sustained. You discover a quiet strength, a stillness within, rising to meet the road ahead. Remember, every season will bring its share of mysteries. There will always be unanswered questions, forks in the road, decisions that confound. It is not your task to know everything. Your task is to trust the journey, trust the purpose behind each pause, trust the lessons and gifts tucked within every uncertainty. Notice how the world shifts when you give up the need to know it all. The tangled knots of your heart begin to loosen. Space opens up for gratitude, for the small things. The breath in your lungs, the kindness of a friend, the beauty of an ordinary sunrise. Little by little, the heaviness lifts, replaced by a lightness you'd forgotten was possible. What waits on the other side of letting go? Freedom. Not the absence of responsibility, but the presence of possibility. Not the escape from life's challenges, but the ability to move through them with more courage and less fear. When you're no longer bogged down by all you cannot control, you realize how much remains within your reach, your choices, your actions, your perspective. So when the world is wild and the chaos is loud, remember, peace is not passive. It is active and intentional, born out of the decision to surrender what cannot serve you and embrace what can. If you find yourself running, slow down. If you find yourself lagging, take a step forward. The invitation always remains. Walk with me, not in front or behind, but right here, together. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending pain never touched your life, nor that disappointment never stung. It means choosing not to drag those stories with you, weighed down by bitterness or regret. It means honoring where you've been but making space for where you are headed. In letting go, you also let in new ideas, new dreams, new relationships, new faith. The possibility of growth that had been restricted by closed fists and guarded hearts. You learn that vulnerability is not weakness, but the birthplace of transformation. Life's greatest gifts are reserved for open hands and open hearts. Consider the freedom of a child, how easily joy bubbles up, how swiftly laughter returns after tears. Children trust the adults in their lives to carry what is too heavy, to hold what they cannot manage, to keep them safe when the world feels too big or frightening. You too are invited to trust that the burdens you set down are picked up by hands more capable, more loving, more wise. You are seen. You are known. You are beloved. When you walk with, you learn to listen, not just with your ears, but with your entire being. You notice subtle nudges, invitations to speak, to act, to rest, to forgive. These invitations are easy to miss when you're racing ahead or trailing behind. Walking together makes space for conversation, for companionship, for guidance. In this quiet presence, every question, every longing, every bit of confusion can be brought forward, honestly and without shame. You are not meant to carry what breaks you. You are not meant to push through without rest, nor to perform strength when your spirit is aching. It is not weakness to need help. It is human. Sometimes strength is knowing when to stop, to breathe, to surrender. And so, once more, you are gently reminded, let go, my child. Trust that there is purpose unfolding, even if you cannot see it yet. Release what no longer brings life. Grieve what must be grieved, but do not let grief be your only companion. Welcome hope back in, even in small doses. Cultivate patience as you wait for what is not yet clear. You will have moments when you falter, when you reach again for the burdens you had laid down. That is all right. This is a practice, a returning again and again, to trust, to surrender, to that inner place of peace. In letting go, you also let life in, with all its unpredictability, its grace, its moments of sweetness and surprise. Each day is a new opportunity to choose trust over anxiety, presence over distraction, peace over chaos. Notice the rising hope as you move, unburdened, into your day. Notice the freedom that comes not from perfection, but from acceptance. The security that grows, not from everything going according to plan, but from the assurance that you are led in every season, supported through every challenge. And as you walk with, allow yourself to be guided, not by fear, but by love. Not by what you lack, but by what you are being called into. Let your journey be marked, not by striving or straining, but by a deep-rooted peace that holds you steady, even in uncertainty. The invitation is always open. When you feel lost, come back to stillness. When you begin to carry what is too heavy, pause and let it go. When the urge arises to sprint ahead, or the fear tempts you to shrink behind, return to walking together, unhurried, trusting, in step with something wiser. You do not move alone. You never have. There is companionship for every step, wisdom for every question, strength for every weakness. Surrender what you cannot change, embrace what you can, and trust that everything else will be cared for in timing and ways beyond what you can imagine. This is not resignation. This is not giving up on your dreams, nor abandoning your responsibilities. It is, rather, stepping out of the exhausting labor of controlling outcomes and stepping into the restful assurance that you are guided, seen, and cherished. You become lighter, freer, more yourself. Peace settles in, not because the world has stopped spinning, but because you are anchored in something deeper than circumstances. The journey continues. You will face new challenges, new questions, new seasons of waiting. But in every moment, the invitation stands. Walk with me. Lay down your burdens. Trust the journey. Let go so you can receive, so you can heal, so you can become the truest version of yourself. There is deep courage in letting go. There is boldness in surrender. And there is immense joy in discovering that you are, and always have been, carried, loved beyond measure, guided toward peace, strengthened for whatever comes next. So breathe deep, release the striving, notice the beauty along the path. Trust that you are being led, not by a force that demands or coerces, but by a love that moves with gentle purpose. Walk in step, just with. And in that togetherness, find the freedom, the guidance, and the peace you've been searching for all along.